Wicked is a stage play about the life of Elphaba, the Wicked Witch of the West from The Wizard of Oz, and her unlikely friendship with Glinda, the Good Witch. The play is loosely based on the book of the same name by Gregory Maguire, which is apparently much darker and more depressing, which is why I never took the time to read it. I didn't want to see the film adaptation at first because it just looked bad. Like, visually. I thought it was an SNL skit, and I had no connection to Wicked other than singing one of the songs in chorus class back when I was in middle school. But I ended up watching it anyway because my friend wanted to see the sequel with me, and I was like, okay, well, she's gonna be here in 2 hours, so I better get caught up real quick. Because yes, I saw the play, but I know adaptations like to fuck everything up. So I wanted to be in the loop as to what was fucked up. Here's what was fucked up. In the first movie. Part 1. The movie is too fucking long. It takes 4 hours to tell a story that took the play 2 hours to tell. You see, we got Dulcibert, baby Elphaba's nanny. Let's put the whole story to a halt to talk about Dulcibert and how she matters so much to the story that she doesn't show up until the end of the second movie and does absolutely nothing. It has come to my attention that Dulcibert is a book character and that's why she was in the movie, but she takes up so little space that, like, I understand why she got cut in the musical. Are people always wicked? Or is wickedness thrusted upon them? After all, she had a big cuddly bear look after her. Although, even though I don't like Dulcibert, I am glad that there's more of an animal presence in the film. In the play, there are only 2 animals present, Dr. Dilliman and the flying monkeys. All the other animals are implied and eventually forgotten about altogether. It honestly gets to a point where you almost forget that animal rights were even a thing. So I like that there's a larger animal presence, especially in the song Something Bad, where instead of talking to Elphaba, Dr. Dilliman is talking to a group of animals in a hideout with a cute little shadow puppet show. I kinda wish that the animals were anthropomorphic as opposed to being on all fours. Like, it'd be nice to not be reminded of The Lion King 2019, but it doesn't bug me all that much. I'll tell you what bugs the ever-loving shit out of me, though. When Elphaba is born in the play, they introduce her greenness in the funniest way. In the movie, they decided that this was too goofy or fun or something, so instead, the governor just says, green.
Green.
Like he doesn't care. He's meant to hate Elphaba most of all, and he's just like, yeah, my daughter looks like a tree. We've got the tallest fucking munchkins. I don't understand this dwarves can't play little people bullshit. Every time someone tries to explain it to me, all I hear is dwarf erasure. I'm sick of the 30s being more progressive than us. It wouldn't irk me so much if it wasn't for 5-foot motherfucking 7-inch Ethan Slater calling himself a munchkin because he's a whopping 4 inches shorter than Jonathan Bailey. He stands on top of 2 books to see him eye to eye, and they're not even thick books. Are you joking? You're still implying that munchkins are famously short, and you do this? This is protecting little people? Fuck off. My biggest gripe with this film is Elphaba as a character. She's calm and collected. She's attuned with her emotions and handles discrimination maturely. She's the Wicked Witch of the West. She's supposed to act like this.
Helping the little lady along, are you, my fine gentlemen? Well, stay away from her, or I'll stuff a mattress with you.
That's why in the play, she yells all the time.
No, I'm not seasick! Yes, I've always been green! No, I didn't eat grass as a child!
Elphaba is deeply insecure and defensive. She's been bullied for her green skin, and so she pushes people away. She's Shrek, basically. She plays the part of big, scary green guy because no one will allow her to not be the big, scary green guy. Or at least that's what she thinks. Here, Elphaba already has her shit together. She's emotionally stable, she has a good relationship with her sister, she was raised by her big, cuddly, loving bear. What does she need Glinda for? Even if you want to say I'm whining just because, different from the play, it really screws with the consistency. One moment, Elphaba is like, my greenness isn't a problem, you're just racist, Glinda. And then she goes singing The Wizard and I, and I'm like, okay, well, certainly they're going to change the lyrics to this song, right? What? It's not even just that, it's like a plot point. The wizard's like, is it your heart's desire to not be green anymore? And the movie's like, yup, that's exactly what she wants, but she's so noble that she asked him to help with the animals instead. What happened to the whole race thing? You had somebody say they don't see color in everything. Why do you hate me? She goes running through this ugly field, and she looks so funny running like that. She looks like a toddler. And because she's not crazy, the magic scenes are fucked. They ramped up how much damage Elphaba does to the school when she uses her powers in front of Madame Morrible, because if we don't do the new guy destroys literally everything trope, the entire film industry is gonna die apparently. Why would you do that if you've already established that she has strong powers? Twice. But what's dumber is the way she does it. It's supposed to be an accident, but she swings her arms like she's doing it on purpose. Something just takes over me. Yeah, it's your own fucking actions. The movie is so tone deaf, it wants to play everything seriously. Everyone is wearing blue, dark, dreary, navy blue. And the whole school is this boring, generic cream color. Every once in a while, there's a pink tree or something, but that's about it. It's the most boring fucking place to look at. And don't even get me started on the Emerald City. It's just downright ugly. They picked the worst possible shades of green and put them everywhere. The buildings have a ton of gold on them for some reason, making them all look like giant turds, and half the people in the city aren't even wearing green. Like, here we go with the blue again. Why are you wearing blue in the Emerald City? It's like the designers genuinely hated green. Hell, it's like they hated color. Oz is colorful. How is Elphaba supposed to stand out as a drab character if everything is drab? They all breakdance when they get there for some reason. Like, now all of a sudden you want to be zany. Why are you rocking back and forth like that? No one acts like that. Madame Morrible isn't over the top anymore. She's played by Michelle Yeoh, so she's boring now. Like, at first I liked her subtlety because she's this big prominent figure and all, but then I realized that it's just a product of modern Hollywood taking the fun out of everything. They had a chance to make a more graceful transition of time, unlike the play where the timeline gets a little lost due to it being on stage and there being a lack of a narrator, but they were confident that all these 40-year-olds look college age and changed nothing but their clothes to establish what age they're supposed to be, which is really trippy with Marissa Bode, who's the youngest actress in the cast. She's the only one who looks right in the school setting, but when she's the governor, is supposed to be like 30 or so, she looks like a baby. Once again, they only used clothes to age her. They didn't do anything to her face. They didn't give her that big foreboding wheelchair, so she looks ridiculous. She's outside during a cyclone and she's like, "Fuck!" I am way ahead of myself. Fuck! 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 It doesn't tell me like my old microphone used to tell me when I'm peaking. That's another problem. But anyway, everyone sings weird except for Ariana Grande, which sucks to say because I don't like Ariana Grande. Like, they all do this thing where they imitate singing well, but it isn't actually singing well. When I'm with the wizard, yeah, 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 I liked What Is This Feeling for the most part, except they kept speaking the lines at the beginning, which ruined the joke that they're supposedly falling in love when they're actually loathing each other instead. I had to skip Dancing Through Life because it sounded so bad I felt like I was gonna die of cringe. Ariana Grande has these minions that are by her side all the time. They're the ultimate suck-ups. One of them has a funny line about doing anything for Fiyero because he's gay, and then Fiyero asks him to move out of the way, and he's like, yeah, that's anything. That made me laugh. It was then I noticed that he, or perhaps they, were wearing a half skirt. I guess this was to represent the androgynous, but I really don't know. Bowen Yang identifies as male, but maybe the character is non-binary? I don't know. I was gonna bitch that Fiyero meets Elphaba first instead of him meeting Glinda first, but then I learned that that's something the play changed as well. What bugs me about it though is that instead of there being new lines, they just use the same lines from when Elphaba and Fiyero steal the Cowardly Lion. Elphaba is like, "Are you always like this?" And it's like, always? You two just met each other. I mean, come on, just because it was in the play doesn't mean it isn't sloppy. Popular was the best musical sequence in the movie, and that's because Ariana Grande was just being herself the whole time.
Welcome. Without making
One Short Day was fucking weird. Jeff Goldblum is a good singer, but they auto-tuned him anyway, so he sounds weird. The Wizard is a country guy, but they picked the most New Yorkian Pennsylvania known to man. The Wizard is like, I wonder what color the road should be. And Elphaba is like, dude, wait a minute, make it yellow. And the audio mixing is so bad. It's as bad as mine. You know that trope where the talking is really quiet, but the action scenes are deafening? It's like that, but it's the music that's deafening. Sometimes. There are moments when the music is really quiet, almost as if they don't want you to hear the sour notes being sung, or like the camera will pan away and then the music just fades out like, they're far away now, surround sound. Elphaba is asked to read something from a mysterious book called The Grimoire. Why she's able to read it is beyond me, but it gives the infamous flying monkeys their wings. Once again, Elphaba's calmness clashes with another song. Defying Gravity is about Elphaba going rogue. And while Cynthia Erivo has the correct energy for once, it doesn't feel as earned. Glinda's like, why do you freak out all the time? Yeah, like, why, Elfie? Why are you always approaching situations with a steady mind, regulated emotions, and making your eyes glow red like Mr. Krabs when you quietly cry? The guitar riffs at the start of the song are jarring as hell, to the point it's kind of funny. It's like, da, da, wee! Okay, so that little wee doesn't happen, but it feels that level of out of place. After the song, Elphaba jumps out of the window and falls. She looks at her reflection on a building and sees herself as a kid, and it made me laugh uncontrollably both times I saw it. The second time I saw it, I was watching it with my brother, and he laughed at it too. It's supposed to be a dramatic moment, but it looks so goofy. Like, what? So now it's time for Wicked! For good. This movie is so fucking boring. There's almost nothing to say about it. I know there's nothing to say about it because after me and my friends saw it, we fell asleep. It's literally just watching everyone be sad for 2 hours. Now, people say it's bad because Act 2 of the play was bad, but I'm gonna have to disagree. The consensus of Act 2 is that it's rushed, confusing, and all over the place, but that's the point of Act 2. Shit hits the fan, and it happens fast. Things get out of hand, and the characters have very little time to react, so they make decisions that have complicated setbacks. This is something that the movie completely misunderstands. It slows everything down and gives the characters a chance to breathe, which is a problem because it lowers the stakes. It also really fucks with Glinda's story. Glinda is forced to be this happy-go-lucky ambassador to the people, not because Madame Morrible tells her to, but because she makes a choice. She's presented with an opportunity. Fight the wizard, tell people the truth. But that's just not who Glinda is. She doesn't know what it's like to be abused and to suffer. She doesn't have that drive in her to take a stand. She can barely handle breaking a nail, let alone something as extreme as jumping out a window and getting chased by the most powerful man in the world.
This must be what other people feel like. How do they bear it?
And because the wizard is evil, he takes advantage of her weakness and makes her the face of his propaganda. Glinda has the option to speak up and tell everybody the truth, but that would essentially be jumping out of the window. What I find interesting about her story is that I believe it's what a lot of celebrities are going through. So many work their way up to success, and then find themselves in these situations where they can't back out, or awful things will happen to them. They can't say certain things, they can't do certain things, and it just eats away at their integrity. And every day they wake up, they have to decide, do I keep this up, keep a smile on my face and hide the truth, or do I throw it all away, go back to the bottom where I spent years and years trying to escape? And sure, the character Glinda doesn't know what it's like to be poor, but she sees Elphaba and she's like, well, I don't want to do that. But what's crazy about it is that they're both just surviving. Glinda is not happy, she's just breathing. And she has to convince people that she's doing fine. That's why Couldn't Be Happier hits harder when it doesn't slow down. She's trying to be truthful, but there's only so much she can say, which is exactly something I've seen celebrities do before.
Can we just do it again without the negative saying that you don't like the tour? Just 'cause
I don't like it though.
I know, but say this
I
is,
go through
but what
hell.
Is it setting up though? I don't
No,
understand.
but
I
you know,
go
because,
through
you know,
hell
the whole
touring.
behind thing I love
Okay,
about
then
touring is that
I'll make it positive then.
Yeah, it's just
For you know the truth.
yeah.
Okay.
and action, Michael.
I love to tour.
It's so complex, and it's so fast that Glinda doesn't really get to think about it. But no, this is all in her head, where she has the freedom to say anything she wants, but she covers up the raw truth of it anyway. The audience doesn't have anywhere else to go, or to do, or to think about. Let's just have the characters sit around and talk about it, and have all the time in the world to do so. Turns out that the Yellow Brick Road is a product of animal slave labor. That's so whimsical. Elphaba goes to save the animals from getting whipped and shit, but then the monkeys show up, so instead of throwing a fireball at them, she just runs away. Most of the animals start feeling like it's time to leave Oz, but Elphaba's like, no, there's nothing out there! And she's right, for some reason the outside of Oz is just dust and wind. Then she sings a new song that's boring and forgettable. Like, you don't understand how boring this movie is. Even though Elphaba insists that the animals need to stay strong, she decides that she's sick of this shit and tries to talk to her sister about clearing her name. Turns out that when Elphaba went rogue, their dad was so embarrassed that he literally died. So Nessa is the governor now. All she cares about is Box, so she's like, bark, 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 bark. And then she takes the Grimoire and literally deletes Bach's heart, and Elphaba's like, you stupid bitch! Now I gotta turn him into the Tin Man. And Bach is super hostile towards Elphaba. They keep focusing on his axe as if we don't know that she dies by water in the end, so that was weird. That fell through, so she goes to the wizard, and the wizard's like, sure, we can start from the top. But Elphaba is like, nope, free the monkeys first. Now, he agrees to free the monkeys, but he has a dickload of animals trapped in cages, including Dr. Dilliman. In the play, it was just Dr. Dilliman under a blanket, and he was no longer able to speak. But here, it's like a whole village. Kudos to them for raising the stakes exactly once. Of course, she pops off at the wizard's house, so of course she gets caught by guards, but Fiyero is luckily one of the guards, and he just so happens to want to smash. So he runs off with her, pisses off Glinda, and Glinda's like, her sister! Get her sister! And you get the witch. In the play, she goes, you two? Behind my back? And Elphaba's like, no, it wasn't like that. And then Fiyero cuts in, and he's like, it was. And that was always my favorite moment in the play. Like, one of my favorite moments in the play. I always laugh so hard. But did they do that in the movie? No. It was just too fucking fun. Although Glindum tells them to spread a rumor, as in, don't hurt Nessa, so they fucking kill her. And Nessa's death is the funniest thing on the planet. For no reason whatsoever, she's outside during a cyclone, and she's like, fuck! And then the house falls on her, and she's like, ah! She doesn't try to roll away or anything. She just sits there and takes a house to the face. I don't even know why she's not walking. Elphaba gave her magic shoes that help her walk. She could be running, but she's back in the chair, outside in a severe weather storm, screaming about Bach. Elphaba falls for the trap and gets saved by Fiyero again, but this time Fiyero gets caught and put up on a pole. Oddly specific, I know. Elphaba puts a spell on him, but then she starts freaking out like, this shit ain't even gonna work, man. Shit's too deep, man. Fuck. And decides she's gonna be evil for real. She hides out in this abandoned castle full of flying monkeys, and they start lighting everything on fire. It's like Be Prepared if it was all CGI garbage. Then her entire evil arc is just yelling at Dorothy about Nessa's shoes, which is pathetic in the play too, but that's supposed to be the point. Here, it's like they didn't realize it was supposed to be funny. Then she hears that Fiyero is dead somehow, even though he isn't dead, he just turned into the Scarecrow. And then she fakes her death somehow. Which, to be fair, it didn't make a lick of sense in the play either. The movie could have taken the time to make it make sense, but I think they ran out of time after adding so many important things, like race jokes, Elphaba's baby reflection, and Nessa going, Bach! Glinda reveals that the wizard was Elphaba's dad, and he gets so sad that he leaves Oz indefinitely, and Madame Horrible gets arrested, I mean killed, by the monkeys. Okay, that's something. Then her and the tall munchkins live merrily ever after. Like, no one is happy. Notice how with the first movie there were things to talk about other than the plot, and with the second movie all there really was to talk about was the plot? Say what you want about the first movie, at least it tried to be different. But with the second movie, it's so stagnant. It just follows the beats and doesn't try to do anything interesting. I mean, it adds more animals, just like in the first movie, but they're just a bunch of lifeless CG blobs. They don't have names, they don't have personalities, and we don't even know what they've been through for the most part. It's all so vague. You could say that it's because it was vague in the play, but the movie expands on vague parts of the play, so that's not really an excuse. Especially when you're taking 4 hours to tell the story anyway. There's just nothing to talk about when it comes to this movie, and I think that has to do with where they decided to end the first movie. Granted, Defying Gravity is an extremely high point to end on, but because it ends there, there's no beginning to the second movie. It just starts in the dead center of a story. There's no recap or anything, no build-up, just we're starting the movie now, I guess. That's really the main problem with For Good. It doesn't stand on its own at all. It's like a late Marvel movie where you have to watch like 15 other movies to understand it, and even then it still feels like you're watching nothing because it's just an ad for the next movie. Which is really strange because this is the end of the Wicked series, so it's like it's an ad for itself. So after I write the script, I get this little notification on my phone saying, we did an interview with Dana Fox, one of the writers of Wicked, the movies. And crazy enough, I said that this... I'm trying not to laugh. I read just a few sentences into this fucking interview, and it literally explains why the movies felt like trailers, like 2-hour-long trailers. She literally said that she thinks about movies in the form of trailers. That was after I wrote the script. And that's why I never do any research on films before doing the initial review, because the movie tells the entire story of the production every time. I think another problem with the movie is that modern Hollywood doesn't understand what nuance is. They wanted to do this duality thing where the first half focuses on Elphaba, while the second half focuses on Glinda, but they understood Glinda's story by 0%, so they completely missed the mark. And for the last time, they fucked up Elphaba's story too, because they misunderstood her from the start. They misunderstood the story from the start. No one is the good guy. Elphaba is crazy. Glinda is selfish. Fiyero is a cheater. Bach is a liar, Nessa is racist, Madame Morrible is a murderer, and the wizard is a Republican. They are all fuck-ups, and that's why the story is fucked up. But no, it's a good guy, bad guy narrative. Glinda good, Morrible bad. It's so bland. You may think I'm comparing it to the play too much and not allowing it to be its own thing, but the problem with your theory is that the movies are just an attempt to tell a story. The movies don't tell the story of Elphaba or Glinda or Nessa or Fiyero very well at all. The play does tell the story well, and that's why I'm comparing the two. If you tried to tell me a story that you didn't understand the events of, I would leave feeling just as confused as you were. That's the Wicked movies in a nutshell. It doesn't understand the source material. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, thank you stay as feral as a wicked witch.